So I know we've talked about technology and everything before, so has the board looked into how much would a program cost in order to make this automated for everyone? So that way, if there is a balance, you know, that's owed, it's like, oh, you pay $25, but you still owed $5. And so that way it's you know, documented, you know, that no money's being returned, you're not losing anything, but they owe $5 or whatever their balance is, or whatever the fine is past the date that they paid, right?
Things that we're trying to work on to make all this possible.
Right.
So it is all in the works. So we're just trying to maneuver our way into how do we make this transition as smoothly as possible and as cost effective. So yeah, we are.
Well, what's the time frame for that? As well.
It depends on when we get our estimates back. You know, you're depending on other people and waiting.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't happen as time as you.
Then she's asking about like the upgrade of like technology and stuff like that. We didn't get a full increase, so it's not like we're about to go and get like new stuff or a new system or barely. I mean, this barely scratched the surface. So if that's what she's asking, then that's not a thing right now. Like, we didn't get enough money for that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I won't take but a second. And people accuse me of not being on the camera when I speak, so I'm stepping forward. Because it's not fair to others, I guess. But with regard to some commentary that was made with regard to upgrading the website, and the statement being made that, well, we didn't get enough money for that. I have some experts in IT who strongly disagree with that. I know a figure of $250,000 to $300,000 was thrown out by Mr. Young. Suddenly, when it got to the Senate committee, or the committee that would get the final approval, well, that was the Senate Commerce Committee, that figure jumped to $750,000. I am being told by people who would have the ability to know that those figures are outrageous. They've also suggested that this board should do as many other boards have done and contract out the license management. I previously published on a Sound Off feature the links for that to be done, for firms that offer that. They're saying that would be far more efficient, and you probably wouldn't have this kind of chaos. I'm not guaranteeing that, but they feel strongly that the board should not be in the business of having to literally manage license renewals. And then the last thing that I want to say is, during that testimony, Senator Mizell, who was the chairman of the committee, made it very, very clear that this board really needs to go through a performance audit. And I would reiterate that Representative Butler made the commitment on camera that that would be done. So I think that doing that will probably indicate a number of efficiencies that are not being exploited. It was not that long ago that this board would shut the website down on weekends, literally. Now, I've gone on the last few weekends, I see apparently they don't have to do that anymore. But for a long time, and I got numerous, you know, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it, but the website would go down on the evening of Friday and would not come back up.
Like, what's the why then?
They allegedly, what they said was it was too vulnerable to being hacked if somebody wasn't there to monitor it. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not, but I do know in 2017, when it was first pointed out to me, that's pretty inexcusable to have to shut a website down over a weekend. And it's every weekend, not just once, every weekend. So at least some advancement has been made there, because I've checked on weekends and now it is up. But I think that's an indication of how woefully behind the efficiencies are in this office. And I think a performance audit will give you great guidance. Senator Mizell made that point several times. And I want to again stress that Representative Butler, as part of getting this $10 fee increase through, committed that would be done. And I don't know how you can make a statement that, well, we don't have the money to do that, when there is yet to be the first element of documentation. I'm talking about authoritative of what this would cost. I mean, we're on July the 7th. I have nothing. I have his verbal statements of $250 to $300, which I have filmed and I referenced in that testimony. We have the verbal statements that were made that was supposedly based on an estimate for doing it that inflated all the way to $750,000. I'm not willing to accept any verbal statement about what that would cost, because I want to get it in writing. That's why I've kept after the Senate Commerce Committee. I want the documentation, and I am going to present it to those experts who have told me that those figures are outrageous. So.
I agree. I have asked myself for those numbers and what it would cost, and I've also asked the question, like, because we're a state entity, do we have to do state, is there a certain contractor, is there a certain IT company that
There's
we
a
have
process
to
that we
use?
have
So
to
I think that we are in the process of getting those official statements, because I have the same questions as you. I want those numbers. I want it done. I want to see it happen. I'm still waiting for those numbers as well, but don't think that we're not trying.
Well, I appreciate that, and it makes me feel like it's not so much me against y'all.
It shouldn't be you against us, because everything you just said, I agree with mostly wholeheartedly. I would like to see those things happen as well.
And I'll point out one large board that has successfully gone with, you know, our contract now, that being the State Board of CPAs. Every year I renew mine, and I mean, it's like 2 minutes. I go in, I check questions that say I haven't been pled guilty to a felony or things of that nature. Remit the credit card payment, I think it's $50. In fact, I'm fairly sure it is. And boom, they send me the confirmation that you've been approved. It's literally within an hour. If you want to go to, because the CPA board is fairly large, if you want to go to the other extreme, the board that he and I used to be on, the auctioneer licensing board, where they only have about 400, give or take, licensees. Ms. Edmonds, the executive director there, has automated everything. I mean, you get a link. Reverend Phillips and I still teach auction school. So I'm going from the smallest boards, because it's only about 400 licensees. For every one the auctioneer licensing board has, y'all have 100, approximately. Think about that for a minute. For every one, y'all have 100. CPA board's a different matter. It's considerably larger, but it's working, and it's working well. So I appreciate y'all allowing me to address y'all, because sometimes I don't have very popular messages, and yet y'all have seemed receptive to what I've had to say, so I do appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to point out 2 things. I don't know if Mr. Burns is aware. You can renew online here now, currently. People can renew online. We haven't made it to where salons can renew online yet, but individuals can renew online. So even as antiquated as our system is, that is an option.
We do outsource that to Star.
Paystar, yeah.
Paystar.
And the second thing is that we've never, like, Mr. Steve may or may not have misquoted and said website, I don't know, I can't remember, but we've never given a number for how much it would cost to upgrade the website. That $700,000 was for programming. I know it probably should have been made clear to you when you were asking the questions, but I'm telling you that the $700,000 was for programming, for starting a system from scratch that wasn't like an in-house fix-as-you-go kind of patched up system like we have right now. It was for programmers to come in and make it to where maybe it could be outsourced, because right now we can't outsource anything until we get past the whatever we have going on in that room. But that's what the $700,000 was for. So I'm unsure whomever it was you were talking to, but no, we're not saying that it's going to cost $300,000 or $700,000 to upgrade the website or whatever. It was for programming to get us off the ground from scratch and get us to an updated, which could possibly be more, database, which could possibly be a lot more like automated and stuff like that. And that is charged by the hour with, exactly, with per license, and it's just a very expensive process.
Well, then I want to follow up one brief time. The commentary about what it would cost to upgrade the website is very widely disseminated. That was said to be the key reason that, and instead, I'm talking about on the House floor, so that there's video to back up. So whether it be Steve Young or whether it be anybody, I can produce legislators who said.
They misspoke.
Pardon me?
They misspoke. I'm telling you, it's.
Well, they didn't just rely upon it from themselves. Somebody told them.
They went with the numbers. That's what was told to them. But whomever said it was for the website, I don't remember somebody saying specifically the website. I know the website was discussed, but regardless, I'm telling you, I'm sorry if that was what was conveyed or if that's what, it appeared to be, but if the 700,000 was programming.
Well, that may be. As I said, in the last fee increase, which was from the Slidell representative, Ms. Dubuisson, she openly said, and several legislators questioned, I think Jean-Paul Cousson, I believe, said, that kind of money for a website? So
Yeah, it was not the website.
if there is a misperception out there, it's a very common one
Gotcha.
that's been disseminated out to the entire House of Representatives.
Well, I don't think
So-
that was the intent. I think
Definitely not.
both things that were probably mentioned along the lines, I haven't gone back and looked at the tapes, but along with the website, yes, our complete database, the servers, all of that, that's where we run into the roadblocks of us not being able to handle things efficiently in the office when it comes to renewing licenses and things like that. So it's the entire system, database, servers, along with our website, because until we do that, we can't do anything with our website to upgrade it to make it more interactive. We need the system behind it.
Because the operating system is so old, right? We can't
Yes,
do
that's,
anything
that's,
with the.
yeah,
like a
that's,
cell
that's to
phone.
my knowledge.
Really
that
old
is-
But obvious, I'm
Can't
sorry, you were
update it
talking, I
anymore.
didn't mean to interrupt.
Right?
Yeah, we
That's what it's
tapped
like.
out with the service of where it can be upgraded, so it's.
But obviously, by your own admission, you do have the present ability to renew licenses, and I assume
Yes.
that includes taking
Some.
payment by way of a credit
Yeah,
card.
credit card.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
individual licenses, yes.
Do y'all have any reason why the apparent participation in doing that is so low?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm assuming based on,
People renew online all the time.
Mr. Young said it was, that, I have him on
I know
video
from
in
my-
testimony saying that
And you talk about getting checks in the mail, there's no like online,
Have an online,
Okay.
yes, but most people still send checks.
okay?
vast majority
What
of people,
about, we talked about something else. This
Erin has
this
her
is
hand up.
completely out of order.
because I brought up your name and the fact that you said not many people use it.
No, because
You
you
did.
question every word.
Erin,
Mr. Young,
Yeah.
perhaps I am detail-oriented. I was diagnosed obsessive compulsive at a young age. You probably figured that out. Sometimes it may be a detriment, sometimes it's an asset. I view it as an asset. If you want to view it as a liability, so be it. All I know is you
Fine, but
said,
This part of the board meeting is over. Why did you?
I didn't even
bring
see this
stuff
on the
back up
agenda.
again?
See a line item, which you're not supposed to just bring things up out of the blue.
That's right, so why are you doing that?
Y'all did it. It was this, how to handle the upcoming fee increase is not a line item on the agenda. I know that many times it's fell under the generic executive director report or legal report, and I've let it slide. But I would suggest there have been numerous open meetings violations by this board, because just having executive director report and just having legal report when you know there are specific items you were going to talk about fails miserably to conform to the open meetings law. It fails miserably. Yes, it does. Okay, Mr. Lawyer.
Okay.
I can show you the litigation I filed in that regard. I haven't done it with this board.
Mr. Burns, I'll take that responsibility, okay?
Okay.
I brought that up, and it wasn't on the line. I'll take that responsibility.
And look, until this happened, you notice I had not gotten adversarial.
We don't really need to, we don't have to get this way.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Because his tone was not very
Yeah,
friendly with me a second ago.
Erin's got her hand up as well.
yes.
Yes, ma'am?
Hey. So, Mr. Burns, like, I just want to thank you for disclosing your personal information, and, you know, I know that that's not difficult. I have 2 kids that are on the spectrum, so I deal with things that I know they home in on things as well, so I understand that personally. What I can say is that the website, you can only renew one type of license. You can't renew multiple. So for somebody like me, I have, it's not capable of, because the programming has to be rewritten. So I can only renew my regular cosmetology license. I can't renew my instructor. I can't renew a school. I can't renew a salon or a spa license. I can only, or a salon manager. I can only renew just my I'm gonna say generic, but it's not, right? My individual cosmetology license, it doesn't have the capability or the capacity that It should. It's a, you know, if you ever watch Harry Potter, because my kids, that's one of their special interests, you know, being autistic. And, you know, we're kind of living in a muggle world, and they need something that's a little bit more like witchcraft and wizardry. And so they have to get to that next level, and I think that that's what, there's like a little bit of a disconnect. There were also things, and I totally agree with you, things that were said in legislation that were completely erroneous. Like saying the cost of some schools were $40,000 a year, which is not true at all. That's not even close to the amount, right? So there's just a lot of things that I think are, you know, misconceived when we're in those moments, like at the Capitol. And I know that you and I both go there, and we have our own, you know, personal convictions in that way. But I think that honestly, like, this board has been the most transparent and willing to help grow our industry here and make it so that it is valid, and that you're not getting smoke and mirrors. This is, you know, and you know that too from being here for so many years. But I think that, like, if we did have the capability to pay for multiple types of licenses, that would be great, because I have to renew my cosmetology license online, and then I have to come here and pay another, you know, money order, because I don't have checks for my instructor's license, right? So, like, it's going to eliminate that too, and that's where the postage comes in and all of that. Once they have a database that I feel like you could get notifications and that be sent to your email, then that eliminates all that postage cost too, you know? So long term, it's going to help tremendously, and I think that we just have to get to that place so that there is more of like that cruise control, and there isn't as much confusion, because it is confusing. I understand that, you know. That's all I had to say.
And I want to say this, we are all a new board. We're all new, and we're going to make mistakes. I heard y'all misspoke whenever I was watching testimony, and I went to testimony. I did not attack anyone. I'm not going to go after anyone. We all make mistakes. We all get nervous when we get up there. So we're human. There's a level of human. Keep in mind, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I booth rent. This affects me. This system that I have to use as a board affects me as well. Like, I'm not just like, whatever. It affects me. It affects me. I want this. I go to work with 10 other stylists who complain. I go to Salon Centric, and they're like, I heard you're on the board now. I hear it. We're working on it. You know, nothing's instant. As I tell my kids, there's no instant gratification in life. None. So we just, day by day. And keep in mind, we're all working too. We're full-time employees at our other jobs, as well as, I'm pretty sure everyone here is a parent. So, like, please know, this is not our full-time job. As much as we would love to dedicate this much time to it and do all of this stuff, we're doing this at night while our kids are watching a movie. I'm reading board meetings. So just please keep that in mind. This is not my full-time job. My heart's here, but physically I can't sit there and do everything I would like to do. But do know it affects all of us, because we are all in the industry as well.
I understand, and the only thing I would say is, I've been covering this board for 8 years, and I think it's been 6 years since I last opted to address the board. Most of the time, I sit here quietly and I videotape. The last time I recall doing this was, I believe, in 2019. So this is very out of the norm. But I felt strongly enough about the things that were presented this legislative session. Obviously, there was one other initiative that I'm not even mentioning, that being the hair braiding. But the sentiments I express are often the sentiments of a lot of folk who are both in the industry as well as who aspire to be in the industry. And as I said to Senator Mizell, she asked me if I go to all the boards, and I said no. I go to the ones based on me receiving complaints. And believe it or not, y'all are only second place. The more, and I told that to her, the one that gets far more attention is the Louisiana State Police Commission. So you can probably figure that they feel like they're scrutinized pretty heavily, and by my own admission, they are. That's what I do. And I thank you in pointing out yours, because I know my traits can be aggravating, by my own admission. My mother put up with it all of her life. But while I am meticulous, I do it because I want accurate reporting. And I have made a few mistakes, and I can show them to you, and I have gone in and I have owned them. Because I think that's important if you're going to have credibility. So with that, I know I've taken up a lot of y'all's time. That was not my intent, but y'all know a lot more about me now probably than you did in any prior meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Burns.
I have the utmost respect for you all. And I'm a pastor. I'm also a state certified instructor in the Department of Education. We're not here for anything other than transparency. And I think the public needs to know that. And the only thing I can say is I appreciate each and every one of you all for sitting here and being a part of this board. But in no way are we here to racially attack anybody. We deal with facts. I started an organization called Louisiana Association of Professional Auctioneers. First African-American school in the nation, first online school in the nation. I'm an educator. And we're just transparent. If you go out and look at those things that I put out there, nothing is hidden. Because I feel if you're hiding something, then you don't want other people to see it. And this is a state board where everything should be transparent. And I asked for those numbers the first time I went to the legislature. I haven't got numbers yet. And I deserve that because I'm also a contractor. So I can look at things and say whether or not these estimations are correct just based on my expertise. And I didn't get anything. And all I'm saying is, Madam Chair, I got the utmost respect because you owned up to it. That's integral. You didn't try to hide it. You did what was right. And I appreciate that because that's transparency.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so,
Before you vote on the method of handling the fee increase, you need to, we need a motion to add that item to the agenda for the reason that the urgency of the matter dictates that it be handled before the next meeting. You need a motion to add the methodology of handling the fee increase transition to the agenda, and the reason that you would need to add it to today's agenda would be that the urgency of the matter, the legislation became effective June 20th, and you will not meet again until August, and there's a need to inform the licensees prior to the next meeting.
Okay, so I make a motion, let me see if I'll work this right, let me go for it, all right? So I make a motion to add us sending out the postcards, I'm gonna simplify this as best as possible. The discussion and everything.
because of the urgency.
Because of the urgency.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So now that we've added that to the agenda, we will now take a vote on the postal information. Someone make a motion.
Okay, so you're saying start August 1st, whole batch, doing a whole batch with the fee increase, 30 days to pay the difference or expiration date, and maybe put a QR code and website.
Is that your motion?
Sure, that is my motion.
I second her motion.
I'm just making sure I have it right now.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Moving on to Executive Director report.